Hello, this is Andy Tufano with Goldstar Training, and this is Raising the Bar. In today's episode, we'll discuss the role that active listening plays in managing and resolving workplace conflict. As a communications professor and a public safety trainer, I think I have a unique perspective when it comes to utilizing communication to manage and resolve interpersonal conflict. I can't help to think that there are always opportunities for us to improve our communication. But I also realize that sometimes communication will have little effect on resolving the interaction. It's true that sometimes being confronted by verbally and physically abusive behaviors, it makes it much more difficult to think that communication will work or to apply the tactic perfectly. But like many of you, I've been in the middle of very difficult and tense interpersonal conflict. I've utilized communication and also physical tactics. But today our focus is on our behavior and the things that we have complete control over, or should. It's our behavior. It's true that to improve workplace outcomes, we need a comprehensive understanding of the roles that the employee play, the consumer, and also the situation. But too often, the focus is on the other party or parties involved in the conflict or on the specific circumstances surrounding the conflict. Unfortunately, this focus is often used to excuse or justify bad verbal or bad physical force options. As a personal example, a while back I received a report that one of my public safety officers, who's now a former employee, was observed verbally abusing a subject he was interacting with. When I confronted him and I asked him why he would react in such a way, his response was both disappointing and instructive. He said I couldn't possibly understand what a jerk the person was that he was interacting with and how difficult the situation was. The bottom line is that he didn't think that his response was inappropriate because in his mind he justified his behavior. We have little control over our subject's behavior and over the situation, but we have complete control over our own behaviors, or at least we should. I'm not trying to minimize the role that the consumer and the situation play in managing and resolving workplace conflict. In fact, we'll address those issues in future episodes. But let's stay focused back on how our behavior, or your behavior, can improve a conflicted workplace interaction. When we interact with uncooperative subjects, sometimes what we say and do will have a positive influence. Sometimes it seems to have no influence, and other times our influence is negative. Our behavior actually makes things worse. One way to improve the potential to positively influence the conflicted interaction is to become an active listener. When this is applied to public safety officer behavior, active listening requires three things: talking less, asking open-ended questions, and not making definitive statements. First, over-talking can be interpreted as manipulation, and it makes it much more difficult to create a mini short-term relationship that's necessary to influence the person. People respond favorably when they feel like they're being heard. This is especially true during times of conflict. Feelings like "I'm not being heard" can be a trigger for aggressive behaviors. Next, ask open-ended questions rather than questions that could be answered simply with one word, such as yes or no. This encourages more dialogue. "Are you okay?" Or rather, "Can you tell me what happened to you?" will generate a lot more information. Open-ended questions allow the person to talk, and it improves the potential that the subject will provide useful information that can be used to help meet their need, expectation, or solve the problem. And lastly, make fewer definitive statements, especially early on when entering a conflicted interaction. These are usually framed as, "If you don't do X, then I'm going to do Y." Too often personnel box themselves in and state ultimatums that either they have no authority to sustain, or when the circumstances change, they're ineffective and could look silly. Successful conflict management always requires accommodation, compromise, and negotiation. In summary, active listening not only will improve your ability to positively influence conflicted interactions, it also highlights an important relationship imperative. Seek first to understand. Feel free to message us with any questions you have about our videos. Or if you want to stay current with them, please go to our YouTube channel and subscribe at Goldstar Training. Or you can follow us on social media. You can reach us at goldstartraining.org. Again, this is Andy Tufano for Goldstar Training, and this is Raising the Bar. Thanks for listening.